Hello, Divine Sunshiners. Stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, Namago. Hello, this is Divine Sunshine. I wanted to kind of do it in a different way for this one, and this is for the ones that want to stay the course of getting their divine counterpart. The other day I was watching a program, I think it was talking about James 12:12 had came up, and in that verse is talking about how you endure the storms, and in order for you to be able to do that, you endure the storms, and at the end you will be rewarded. Some of us on this journey, I feel, and has been brought to me too as well, that we've gotten to a point that we get kind of wavery. We have to remember that we are the ones who are in the driver's seat. Each time I do readings, I always see a chair. And that chair always represents to be about how comfortable are you in taking the reins of the dynamic of the partnership. The other day I had did a past life regression session with a young lady. And with this young lady, she was going through the trying to find out which one is the true twin. And in her session of going back, it was brought out that it seems like she was thinking, her higher self was telling her that she seems as if it was that the men in her life were teaching her, but it wasn't a even exchange or reciprocity of that she's teaching them. I think a lot of times when we are on this journey, and I'm talking for myself, that we feel like the divine masculines are always teaching us, that it's happening and we really don't have any kind of control over what's going on. We just be reactive instead of being proactive. Those of you all that want union, we have to understand that with our counterpart physically in the 3D, that there's going to be times in which stuff does not resonate or align with the vision or the thought process in which we think things should go. It's always been brought to me, I remember, is that idiom where they say anything that's worth having, it's going to be some lessons. And if it's easy, most of the time it's not worth having. We have to get into the mindset that, hey, it's going to happen. These things, these challenges, these things come to either make us stronger, or either it's going to make us crumble, or it's going to make us check our foundations. What are we actually having our pillars of faith when it comes to this? Staying of good courage, staying of good faith, staying having the good fight, and truly being okay with just being not okay or okay. Like you said in the young lady's session, it was like being okay with the gray. Because there's some areas sometimes on this journey of those of us that want union in a 3D with our person, that there's some gray areas. Growing up in society, it has been brought to our attention to there's no gray area. There's always just a plain black and white to things. But when we come to this journey, we learn, hey, there is another primary color. I think about it as an artist. And you know, you always got your primaries, and they say these two together blend, that becomes secondary. And that color of bringing black and white together creates that gray, which lets us know that sometimes there's got to be a time when there is no clear definition as to what is actually going on. And we have to be okay with the gray. Whether that's us trying to get in union with our spiritual things, our bliss, our mission, or whatever that may be. At times that is something in which makes us question everything when we start seeing gray. But we have to reprogram ourselves. We have to do that shift to understand that, hey, some things are not going to be clearly black and white. Gray too can be a primary color. It could be the first thing, because from that merging of things becomes a new dynamic and a new color is reborn. And so what we thought we used to know in the past and what things we know now is new gives birth to something, a newness about our really truly respecting not only ourselves but also our divine counterpart and also the world. I know a lot of lessons that I've even had on my, I call them now cohort heart. My cohort, like that's another heart, so they're my cohort. So even with my cohort, things that he has taught me, I've seen how I've used that to apply into everything that I do, even in life. This is why doing those lessons and those separations and those times that we may not like, when that happens and they turn and they start to focus in on self and what's happening in their world, it's the same thing for you too. I'm seeing it like a duel. It's time for you to turn and you concentrate on self. You know, we have to understand that this journey, and like I told the young lady, is the dance of the crane. And I remember when we had the Sunshine Circle support thing, we were like, oh my God, not the dance of the crane, because every time we do things, I would pull cards, and the cards would say crane, crane, crane for each one that I would read for. I was like, what is this? From that, we had to truly get an understanding of, in the dance of the cranes, there's opposition. They always look like they're going in the opposite movement. It's like, I go left, you go right. I go right, you go left. But at the same time, each time they would do that, that opposition was still bringing them closer and closer and closer and closer. On this journey of us wanting union with our person in the 3D, we have to watch the perspective about how are we interpreting what it is. Are we in the driver's seat? Are we allowing things to happen to us? Okay, all right, we back in separation. Okay, you're not talking to me. Okay, that means let me go off and go do something else in the meantime. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's this, like it's breathing and you don't need them as a distraction for what the next thing universe wants you to do. And so it'll take them away, say, no, I need you to really concentrate on this next thing I want you to do. And sometimes it doesn't mean it's anything the gray, or you got to learn how to be okay with okay. In some points it is, because you got to be okay with the distance. It's okay for the pulling back. It's okay for the space that has been created. But one thing we do know is, I told you to be proactive. We have to understand we are in the driver's seat. They're teaching us and we're teaching them. We're teaching them, okay, it's all right when you go into separation or you're doing whatever. Let me turn and start going and getting more deeper into my finding my bliss, doing things for me, practicing self-love. Because then when you turn and start focusing on yourself, that creates them to say, oh, wait a second, maybe I need to turn and start focusing on her or him, whoever it is that you feel that your counterpart is in that destination of energy at that time. We have to also, last point, watch and practice strong discernment at this time. Have it listening to things with a more discerning ear, because you could talk to people, they kind of influence you, even if they're saying that they are twin flames, or they're part of your village, or they're part of your circle, or whatever, they're part of your woke divine nation. You still, that means even readers or whoever you're looking at, you still have got to get to the point where you're saying, does that really align with me? Is that really keeping that statement there that they just said to me? Is that truly keeping me on track for having union with my counterpart, even when you're talking to yourself? And everybody means good and they mean well, but at the same time, it's like you've got to become laser beam focused. Use that Aries energy of that target sign where they really aim for, whether it's in your chart or not, and say, I'm going to pull from the universe right now, especially when all these emotional things that are going on. And we got the moon that's in Libra, which is about partnership, which means, again, what are you partnering with? What are you linking yourself with? What are you associating yourself with? When people talk to you, say, well, you know what? He may and may not come in. Maybe you need to focus in on the 2.0 person right now. If you're saying that you're aligned with the union with the person, you've got to be able to take the lead, because if you're wavering, that's causing your counterpart to be wavering about that within them. And I can tell even in my counterpart sometimes they're saying, I'm ready to go to course, but some within me, I'm feeling this like going in and out about this. I thought I was sure, but now where's this feeling? Where's this feeling and doubt coming from? You've got to stay the course. You got to pull the strongest energies is able to, they're showing me, to create that magnetize and create that pull to go into the energy that is needed for the union, for the connection. If you're wavering, they're wavering. So you got to get strong in your spirit. And that's going to cause the out. So within, so without. So the divine masculine, which is the 3D energies, to get on board with what's happening on the outside. You're going to have to stay the course. This is not for the faint of heart. You've got to become very strong in your reserve in knowing this is what you want. And the 2.0 thing is not an option, because while you're doing that, you are giving up on yourself. Literally, you are. Spiritually, physically, you're giving up on yourself. Because there's some parts of you that, again, is not going along with the process either. And your divine counterpart is just reflecting that. They are your true litmus test. I am working, I am trying. But this journey that you chose, right? You say if you did or you didn't, said it cannot hold BS. You cannot BS the spirit. The spirit knows rather whatever you know in your heart of heart, because even if it's that little speck, as Kathy D, that's in that coffee pot, that's in that corner, it still exists about your doubt, and it's there, it knows. But you say, but it's clean, but you look at it and you hold it up to the light, say, I be darned, it's just a little finite speck right there. Anything that's of impurity, of that, is not going to be able to uphold the union and draw it, and for it to be able to sustain, if nothing else, that vibration in that energy. Things have got to be cleared out, and you need it to be cleared out as much as possible, That's why you have those periods of working on self, where they work on themselves and you work on yourself. And you don't take it personal. Correction. I like how they say that. Say, no, you take it personal. Because you take it personal, because you take it where you start personally working on self. Just like they're taking it personal and they're concentrating on self in the 3D. Maybe they're going back into that job more deeper, more going back into that partnership, person, place, a thing, and they're focusing in on that. Say, okay, you do that, I'll go work and concentrate on the spiritual, while you going back into the worldly things, or the matrix of things. This is pretty much all I wanted to say. I wanted to make sure we have this talk. So this is a trigger warning. I'm kind of going back to my roots and having talks with you all, because we're at that point. We need to be talked through what we're going through. And a lot of times on this journey, we feel that this is very much so a process that we walk alone on this journey. And it's always good to say somebody who has walked the walk, has been through it, that could be able to kind of, again, say, hey, you're not by yourself. I'm here. You can always write me at, and people do, at divineunitsouls11@gmail.com. If you would like to talk, you could talk to me down in the comments section as well. We have a lovely tribe of divine sunshiners, awoke divine nations, nation people that even if I don't chime in, somebody else will be able to chime in and to help you. But at this time, I wanted to make a message, especially for those of you all that's holding the course, because I believe that a lot of times in the twin flame journey, some of us that are truly still holding on and say, I want union with our purpose, are kind of like the elite or the chosen few. Because there's a couple of them that's kind of straddling the fence and kind of want a little bit of the cake. I want to say that. A little bit of, not the cake and eat it too. I don't like that. Want to be able to explore and see what's on the other side just before they say I can actually lock in. Or some of them are because they're scared and they want to take other options just to see, or they feel in their heart and their hearts, hey, this is not coming as easy as I thought it would. This is becoming too hard. I think this is a sign that this is not divine. Okay. And if you look, even this is Lent season, if you look at the road in which Jesus had taken, those of you all from religious or spiritual or just knowing period, whether you believe in it or not, there's a lesson in everything, every story. You'll see that his road was not easy to ascension. It wasn't an easy walk. So even in that story, and then ascending, and all the great ascension masters, there's struggle, there's a challenge. Either it's challenge with the world, the family, like think about Buddha, how he was, and they thought at that time it was what his parents or his family tried to paint this wonderful thing of how the world was, and he's like, hold on a second, something don't feel right in my spirit. It's something else going on out here in the world. And then when he had seen that, said, well, I'll be darned, they've been lying to me. It is a world out there, and it's full of all these other things that I felt instinctively was. We can't force to create that utopia like that, because this is not what the world is balanced on. It's got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we've got to be able, how we can be able to merge and marry all three of them and make the best of it, of our experiences, to our advantage. So speaking of that, make sure that you go. We having our virtual playground event which is on 4/4. Go and register to divineunisouls11.co. If you want more information about that, I'll also link the video that goes into explanation about what the event is about. This is something surely of you all that want to, again, rebuild and get yourself in line with being stronger within yourself spiritually, making your foundation strong so you can be able to be ready for union for your person. I strongly suggest that you go and register it before it, because we've got a lot of great speakers that are coming to help you with just doing that. Okay? All right. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste. Namago. Love you.